Hey up! Right, today, as you know, the way I normally do reviews on motorcycles is I like to do an in-depth walk around of the bike before I go on to the actual review videos. I've got this BSA GoldStar 650 for a couple of weeks. It actually arrived late Monday afternoon and I'd finished work for the day, which meant I could take it out for a quick spin around the block. Well, that quick spin around the block ended up being more like an hour and a half, and it rained, so the bike got quite dirty. So I need to give it a clean off before I can do the actual walk around, because you want to see the bike in its best light, not covered in road crud. So I'm going to get on with that. Now, I'm using the new YouTube interactive feature today. If you leave a like, it'll fast forward to the rinsing stage, but if you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, it will fast forward to the actual review. Otherwise, I think it's going to take me about an hour and a half to get the bike cleaned up. It's up to you, I'll leave it with you. Now, while we've got a little bit of time to kill as you watch me washing this bike, my partner Paula, who you all know from other videos, has just started up a new channel, and her debut video has uploaded at the same time as this one. And I really would appreciate it if you would lend her a little bit of support by clicking the link top right hand corner of the screen at the end of this video. Watch this one first, just to give her a little bit of encouragement. Thanks very much. This is a motorcycle friendly lance, by the way. Now, the first thing that struck me about the frame on the GoldStar is that it is so typically 1960s British motorcycle design. The welding isn't world class, but it's far tidier than some other manufacturers. All the fittings appear to be either forged or cast, and there's a distinct lack of plastic plugs to hide, end sections, etc. that are exposed. It's been done properly, the old-fashioned way. I always consider this to be the trademark of a British bike. The triangular seat support at the back that also supports the rear suspension. Everything feels really robust, almost over-engineered. Even down to the design of the front end here. Instead of, that's a really substantial, thick piece of metal behind here. It's like I said, the whole bike feels over-engineered. It's been really well done, and it does scream 1960s, 1970s British motorcycle to me. They've really got the essence of the old GoldStar chassis. Now, moving to the engine. Obviously, this is a water-cooled motor. Designed by Rotax, who of course are famous for single-cylinder race engines, proprietary engines, and more recently they've built engines for the likes of BMW and Aprilia. Well-respected company, very trustworthy, tough, well-performing engines. I'm not quite sure what the state of play is these days, whether these are actually built by Rotax or whether they've just designed it and it's built to their specification by BSA in India, but either way I think it's a power plant that can be trusted. They've got the silhouette of the old GoldStar engine off to a T. Obviously we've got the faux cooling fins at the top here because this is a liquid cooled engine. It's a little bit angular for my taste. Obviously, this bike has had to be built to a certain budget. There possibly wasn't the money in that budget to really sculpt the engine to give it that original GoldStar look. Either way, I think they've done a really good job with it. Aesthetically, I don't like this grey metallic paint. I would have preferred to see it just a plain silver or even black. We've got some stickers instead of some sort of engraving with the Birmingham Small Arms BSA name there and the three muskets Yeah, I mean, as long as they stay there, I haven't got a great problem with it, but it would have been nice to see a slightly better executed branding on it. But, you know, it is what it is. We've got the fake sort of cafe racer style air intakes just at the rear of the tank, between the tank and the seat. And of course, this is a dry sump engine. Now, I'll show you the oil tank in a moment. I think they could have done a little bit more than that, but you know, it's still been well done. Because it's a dry sump, obviously the engine can be shorter, you know, not as tall as a wet sump engine. And what they've done is they've sort of taken a leaf from Triumph's book here. I believe this is a double-skinned exhaust, goes behind this heat shield here, and then it goes into the catalytic converter. And then after it's been through the catalytic converter, it comes back out and into the exhaust pipe, which means they can hide stuff like the voltage regulator, the catalytic converter, and other bits and pieces responsible for emissions controls underneath the engine, and they're not sort of spoiling the form of the engine anywhere else. So yeah, I like what they've done there. It's a shame we've got to have all these things nowadays, but sign of the times. Now this is, as I've said, a liquid cooled engine, and the big bone of contention was this huge slab fronted radiator that they've put on the front. Obviously, you know, everybody would like a smaller radiator, and it's obviously been a case of the, you know, this has had to be this size for efficient cooling of the engine. I think what initially set me against this bike when I first saw the photographs is one of the photographs had been taken which really made a feature of the huge radiator, and it put me and a lot of other people off the bike immediately. The truth is, from every other angle, this bike looked fantastic. I don't think BSA did themselves any favours with that particular photograph, but you know, it is what it is. It's in the past now. Yeah, we'd all not like to be able to see that, but again, with emissions controls nowadays, lean burn engines, they run so hot. A lot of them do need water cooling to assure some sort of longevity of the engine, so necessary evil. Completing the exhaust system, we have of course got the ubiquitous Goldie silencer, or at least a modern day version of the Goldie silencer. Yeah, they couldn't have made this bike without doing that. It's a full stainless steel system as far as I can see. It's brushed. I would have liked to have seen it polished. The bike's built down to a price. Brushing is cheaper and quicker than polishing. One thing that I think is worth mentioning is the chain adjustment system. This is very reminiscent of those that we see on the Triumph Bonnevilles. None of your cheap sort of adjustment system. This has cost some money. Now this is either, I think it's cast. It might have been forged, but I think this is a cast piece which is welded onto the box section rear swing arm. Yeah, they've gone for quality over economy, and you see that all over this bike. They've cut their expenditure in places, but they're spending the money where it needs to be spent. This is a very high quality rear chain adjustment system, and it's nice to see that they've put it on this bike. Mudguards front and rear are quite a meaty ABS plastic. Nothing flimsy about them at all. Lightweight, won't rust. They do have what I think are chromed stays for sort of to give it that original GoldStar look, which I like. They're probably not, strictly speaking, necessary. They're just there for show, but yeah, I like that. Now, the whole bike has a very sort of original sort of 1960s GoldStar look to it. The only sort of detachment from that is the rear fender. They've given it a more cropped look. You know, the original did sort of bend all the way around down to right to where, you know, the bottom of the number plate is here. Again, I like that. It gives it that cafe racer look, sort of US spec. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, to be honest, I think it looked better this way than it would have done if they'd have gone the whole hog and imitated the original. Now, the bike sits on alloy rims, nice quality. You can't even see where the weld is on these, and there will be one somewhere. I think these may be stainless steel spokes, although, again, maybe not, I'm not entirely sure. They're certainly going to keep the upkeep of the bike low. They're going to require minimum maintenance like chrome rims will. Yeah, nothing to complain about. We've got, I think it's a 17-inch on the back. I'll put something up on the video if I'm wrong about that, and it looks like an 18 at the front. And the bike's been shod with the well-known and well-respected Pirelli Sport Comp Phantom tyres. I know some people seem to have issues with these. I don't know why, they're a great tyre. Exactly the kind of thing that you would expect to see on a bike like this. It doesn't need anything else. These tyres are absolutely fine. We've got a floating disc, which I believe is a Brembo on the front, along with a 2-pot Brembo caliper. You know, they've not gone for Nissin or Vibrate or anything like that. They've tried to keep the spec up on this bike where it matters. I can actually vouch for these brakes because I have ridden the bike quite a lot already. Really good braking action on this bike. And we have a single pot Brembo on the back. Again, really good back brake. I've not experienced any intervention from the ABS. You can get really good braking control and feel with these brakes. I won't go into that too much at the moment because we'll save that for the main review. On the back, we've got a fairly simple and straightforward oil emulsion rear shock absorber. Twin shocks, one on each side, obviously. Plastic coated springs. I'm sure that's actually, they may be painted. Hard to tell. 5-position preload only adjustment. Again, I'll give you my thoughts on the rear shocks in the later review, but there's nothing to worry about with these. At the front, we've got a pretty conventional 41mm right way up forks. Again, the actual fork legs have been really well finished. Now, the fork stanchions themselves have a metal shroud over them to give them that sort of beefy 1960s look. It does finish the bike off well, to be honest. I think exposed stanchions probably would have spoilt the sort of 1960s aesthetics of this bike. I think they're just a pressed steel that are fastened in place somehow. It looks like they're fastened in place via a bracket on the bottom yoke. Yeah, they give it a really nice look. They're also going to protect your stanchions from stone chips, and I can confirm actually, you know, to give it that beefy look, there's quite a gap between it and the actual fork stanchion itself, so build up of moisture shouldn't be a problem. We've got fairly simple, straightforward and traditional metal headlamp lugs. Yeah, these are a really substantial, thick piece of metal. This bike is built like the Forth Bridge. Now, cable management and you know, wire routing, etc., on a motorcycle is really important. It's something that's always let Triumph down, especially with its current water-cooled versions. It's excellent on this bike. You know, proper, robust, you know, cable management system all the way around the bike. I can't find anywhere on this bike where the wiring loom gives me any cause for concern. It's really high quality. It's really well put together, very neat and tidy, just what I like to see on a bike. Yeah, there are a lot of other manufacturers that could learn a lot from the likes of BSA and Royal Enfield. Now, general fit and finish is it's really good. Again, I can't find anything to fault. The paintwork is excellent. There's some weird marks in the black paint on this which I suspect have been down to the way it's been used. I'm not quite sure whether they're scuffs or what they are, so ignore those. We've got a flat gloss paint finish. It's been really well executed. There's no orange peel visible on it that I can see anywhere. It is really well painted. You know, I'd be proud of a paint job like this. The central stripe, I'm going to say that has been applied and then lacquered over. I'm pretty sure it has, just judging by the way it feels. So it's sealed in. I know some people don't like that because they might want to take it off. At the end of the day, BSA, like a lot of other companies, they want to ensure that these decals don't start peeling off and become a warranty claim, because vinyl, it can be quite expensive, and getting it fitted properly in the event of a warranty claim can be even more expensive. So yeah, it's par for the course. It's been sealed in. You shouldn't have any problems with peeling or anything like that. Certainly the pinstriping around the edges of the chrome panel here are definitely been lacquered in. That's how I would do it if I was doing it. Really high quality. Again, the chrome is excellent. There's no rough finishing or rough polishing that I can see prior to being chrome plated. It's, you know, you could literally dive into that and swim. Now, moving on to the side panels. I remember in the old days, side panels on bikes used to be, well, initially they were metal, like a pressed steel, and then later on, as we got into the Japanese era, they were made of some sort of plastic. But over the last 20, 30 years, a lot of motorcycle manufacturers have resorted to using very thin, flimsy plastic, which is just strong enough to do the job, but does worry you sometimes when you're trying to prise them off because of the amount of flex. This is like a 1970s Honda, you know, before Honda started going down that route. There's no flex in it. It's a really good quality, thick ABS that's more than up to the job here. We've got the airbox cover there and the rear brake reservoir hidden away behind this panel, so everything's nice and neat and tidy. But yeah, I've not seen, sorry, I'm just getting some more water out of there. I've not seen anybody sort of building good, robust side panels of this quality for at least 20 years. And it's nice to see that BSA have embraced you know, the proper production methods of things like this, because, you know, even the cheap flimsy ones, when they get damaged, they're expensive to replace. You don't have any problems with these. Now, seat removal. Behind your left hand side panel, put that piece of wood there. First of all, as I say, this is a dry sump engine, so your oil is contained in here. I can't help wishing that BSA had made a feature of this, and, you know, possibly like they had on the original GoldStar, a cutout here with a proper oil filler for checking your oil levels and filling it up, etc. I feel like they've sort of missed an opportunity there. Maybe with future models they will do that. It would have really given it that old vintage look. You know, I remember the Honda 400s, 4, etc. from the, am I thinking of the Honda 400 4? Anyway, some of the Japanese bikes from the 1970s had that configuration. It just looked so spot on. And of course, the GoldStar, the original GoldStar, had the same setup. I mean, again, this dry sump, this reservoir, sorry, is very substantial, and it's been well finished, it's well painted. It's something that your average bystander is never going to see, but it's been finished off really well. We've got a dipstick on here. Obviously, because it's a dry sump, you've got no sight window in the engine, so you have a dipstick for testing your maximum and minimum levels on your oil. Yeah, again, everything does feel quality. I don't know what I was expecting with this bike, but it surprised me. Now, you'll see here we've got a little blue thing. Now, I missed this initially. It's actually a blue pull for releasing the seat. When I first glanced at it, when the bike first arrived, I thought it was something to do with the electrics. Don't know what I was thinking. Just pull that, releases the catch on the seat, and you've got access to the space underneath the seat. Now, once you lift the seat off, again, it's just more pleasant surprises. Good heavy-duty bracketry. I know I keep saying it, but this bike is way over-engineered for what it needs to be. We've got a high-quality USA 12-volt battery, so you're not going to have any problems with the battery. Toolkit, which I'll go over in the moment, and I'm presuming this is original equipment. It's actually a little mini first aid kit, and I've never seen this on a motorcycle. I mean, it may have been that some press hack, you know, maybe health and safety reasons, they have to carry one when they're testing a bike. I don't know, but if that's standard equipment, maybe somebody out there that owns one can tell me whether it is or not. That is a really nice touch. Now, the toolkit, my favourite part of every new bike. I'll have a look at that in a moment. We've got a protective film, which I'm presuming is original. I can't imagine anybody stuck that on since the bike went out. You tend to get grip between the front of the seat and the tank, which eventually wears the paintwork through. A lot of manufacturers don't bother with this nowadays, but we've got a protective film over there to stop that from happening. Again, that's nice. I like to see that. Good quality ABS seat. All looks very Triumph in the way that it's been put together. A couple of substantial brackets at the back to hook it in place. Yeah, quite a small toolkit. We've got a box spanner, which I presume will be for, I can't say for certain, but it looks like it may be for removal of the spark plug. Put that there. We've got, I think that also doubles up as your screwdriver handle, but because there isn't a screwdriver handle in here, but we've got a screwdriver. Yeah, I thought it might, but yeah, maybe not. Yeah, so we've got a screwdriver, a flat blade, and a Phillips type, but there doesn't appear to be a handle in this kit. Someone's obviously made off with it. We've got a couple of Allen keys, and we've got an open-ended combination spanner with the trade name Venus on it. I don't know who they are. 12mm at one end, 10mm at the other end. We've also got a 17 and a 14mm. These are pretty much the standard of quality that you would see in Japanese bikes back in the day. Good enough for the job. Not top end, obviously, but it's nice to have them. I do like having a toolkit on the bike. I just wish I knew where the handle had gone. Yeah, definitely not part of that. Someone's obviously made off with it. Now, just on the left hand side here, we've got a DIN type or cigarette lighter type power outlet. Handy if you're touring and you need to blow up a rubber dinghy or a inflatable air mattress, something like that. I suppose you could also use it for powering a heated suit, that kind of thing. Nice touch, because that's not the only power outlet that this bike has. Up on the handlebars here, we've got a weatherproof box which contains a standard USB plug and a USB-C. Obviously this is going to be handy for charging your phone up and powering peripherals like sat-nav, that kind of thing. I mean, I've just jet washed this bike, there's no water in there as you can see, and it's the first time I've looked since I did it, so yeah, can confirm it's fully waterproof. The only thing is, it's a little bit obtrusive where it is on top of the handlebars. I'm not entirely sure they needed a box that big. Obviously they've decided that they did. It would have been nice to see something a little bit smaller, maybe underslung. I mean, I don't know how they would do it, but it is a little bit in your face there. Right, switchgear is pretty standard fare. Now, these are plastic. I actually prefer plastic switchgear to metal switchgear. It stays looking tidy longer, it lasts longer. These are not the flimsy items that we've seen on some other brands. They seem, quite robust. And the design's quite nice as well. Now we've got indicators which are push to cancel, fairly standard, low beam, main beam, pass light at the front, and the horn on the left hand side. On the right hand side we have engine kill switch in red. We've got the hazard warning lights. I presume you need to put the ignition on to switch them on, but they should stay on when you switch the ignition off until you cancel them. We've got the starter, and we've got an info button on the top here. Now all this basically does is toggle between the odometer, the trip 1 and the trip 2. It doesn't do anything else. Now, instrumentation at the front. On the old GoldStars, I think this was the place where the amp meter was situated. I'm not sure, it might have been a switch for putting the headlamp on. I suppose it depends what year it was. In the case of this bike, I thought when I saw these at the show that these were an LCD screen. They're not. It's just a place for putting the telltale signals for your ABS, your oil pressure. Nice to see that they've got a side stand light to let you know that the side stand is down, because I am one of those people who is occasionally guilty of putting the bike into gear with the side stand down. It happens. It's nice to have that telltale light there to tell you that your side stand's up or down. It's got your neutral light and one or two other bits and pieces like your temperature. It's not obtrusive when you're riding, but basically once you're on the move, this goes out unless you select neutral once it's gone through the ABS checks, etc. So yeah, for the most part there's nothing to see there. The ignition is a standard central configuration which also locks your steering. We've got two small, quite vintage style clocks. Your speedometer, which goes up to 130 miles per hour, and your rev counter. Now the interesting thing about these is the sort of upside down. 0 miles per hour is at the top here at round about 10 o'clock, and then just demonstrate it. The needle actually goes the opposite way around. Yeah, interesting, a period feature, I'm sure. I don't mind it. It was a little bit disconcerting when I first started riding the bike because it just felt like everything was wrong. The rev counter works in exactly the same way. It goes clockwise to register the amount of revs that the engine's going at. You soon get used to it, but yeah, it is a little bit weird initially. Again, the housings are all good quality, proper chrome bezels, no plastic. I think even that's a proper chrome bezel on there. I'm not seeing anything that screams out cheap on what is essentially only a £6,000 bike. I'm pretty impressed. Right, lighting, as far as I can tell, The indicators may be LED. I struggle to see how you get a full-size bulb in there, so they must be LED. The indicators are black, the plastic, they're small, they're inobtrusive. They've obviously been designed not to distract the viewer of this motorcycle. The original bikes initially wouldn't have had indicators, and in a way I'm glad they've gone down this route of keeping them more stealth-like than sticking a big chrome thing on, as a lot of manufacturers like to do these days. We have standard halogen bulbs inside the, I think that's a plastic casing, proper chrome bezel, glass lens, which I like to see because plastic ones do degrade in the sun over time. Nice little bit of BSA branding at the top there. It's tasteful, but yeah, standard bulb technology in the front here. I'm not sure about the back. I'll have to look at the spec sheets and we'll cover that in the main review. The rear light is a bit of an odd choice though. It looks quite futuristic compared to the rest of the bike. Now the tank badges are a lovely touch. They're like a 3D embossed plastic badge, very reminiscent of you know, things that we would see back in the 1960s. They really set the tank off. I mean, it's a brilliant BSA design. Not a lot you can say about it. It's classic, but the way they've done it there, it looks quality. It looks really nice. I'm presuming this is probably stuck on with some 3M, sorry, high bond tape or something like that. So you're not going to have any issues with that. Yeah, it feels like it. Yeah, they're not going to come off. Now moving over to the fuel cap. Again, we've got some nice branding on the fuel cap, very reminiscent of the era of the original GoldStar. Established 1903, embossed into the actual chrome cap itself, and then, sorry, just let that police car go past, and then the BSA 3 musket insignia. I think that's etched into the key plate. Now to get in it, you simply slide that across and lift the key out. It's not a screw-in type. I mean, this all appears to be metal. Plenty of plastic rubbish in here. You know, I'm finding it difficult to fault this bike, to be quite honest, for the money. We've got a standard period correct bench seat. The rider sits very slightly lower than the pillion. I will be testing the pillion capabilities out. Nice to see that we've got a nice period seat strap here, and a nod to BSA's British heritage with a little tiny embroidered Union Jack just sticking out from underneath the seat strap there. God, police cars are out in force today. Right. And I can confirm this is a very comfy seat. In fact, this is a very comfortable bike. The rear brake is a nice cast item, none of your bits of bent metal with bits welded on the end. Very well executed. Again, I don't like this metallic grey paint. I'd rather have seen chrome or even just black, but you know, it is what it is. Foot pegs, again, good quality. They're painted in a metallic silver. I would like to have seen that on here, but it is what it is. Yeah, decent quality items. We've got the same with the gear lever. Again, this is a cast piece. You know, yeah, well, they're doing it for this money. I mean, I dare say these are generic items that they've sourced to fit the bike, buy them in high numbers, and they get them for the right price. But the point is, rather than having a piece of you know, bent steel, which does the job but doesn't look great, we've got something that really sort of blends in with the bike and looks right. I really like that. We've got the coolant filler here. Actually, that's the only plastic plug I've seen on the entire bike. Right, so that's a detailed walk around of the BSA GoldStar. I'm a little bit shocked, if I'm honest. When I first saw this bike in the pictures when it was first announced, which must be 18 months, 2 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, I wasn't impressed. And if you've seen the video that I made when it was announced, I was very skeptical that this bike was going to be any good. And then at the 2022 NEC bike show, the bikes that they had on show were, for want of a better word, mock-ups. They weren't production motorcycles, and again that reinforced my pessimism about the brand. But I am a person who will put my hand up to it if I've got it wrong, and I have got it wrong. The price tag belies the quality that BSA are putting out on our roads at the moment. This is a cracking bike. I've ridden it so that I know it's a cracking bike. But if you want to see that review, ride review, including some pillion work, tune in for the next instalment. Also, if anybody has some particular questions about this bike which I haven't covered in this comprehensive walk around, please let me know, and I'll try and do a third video to cover those sort of items off. This is one of those occasions where I'm pleased to say that I was wrong. They've really captured the essence of the original GoldStar. Okay, they've had to make some compromises here and there, but I think this is probably a better bike than the original GoldStar was. It's certainly got the heritage in the BSA name and the looks. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to riding this for what have I got left, about a week and a half now. So, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and my other videos, and in doing so, helping to support this channel. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to support me in other ways, you can do that via the Super Thanks button, which is down here somewhere, through my Patreon page, or via my PayPal through PayPal donations, which some people prefer. Either way, it would be much appreciated. I am, of course, going to be back next week, and so until then, please ride safely, and I'll see you soon.